Welcome back to Game Devs Play Games, where we play games, talk game design, and we're back with more Battle Brothers.
Affinity Brothers.
Affinity Bros.
Alright, so...
Wrecking the day.
So we are only 3 people strong right now, because that's how the game starts.
And with one super bloody dude.
It's pretty bad. The other guy's actually not too much better. So we'll start with Wolf. Wolf is, he's our shield guy. Granted, he doesn't necessarily have to be the shield guy, but let's take a look at his stats. So generally, a melee skill of about average of 50. So the fact that he starts off at 50, it's pretty good.
Do they level up?
They do. So right now, they're at level 1.
I thought that was his health.
Nope. Health down here.
Ah, well, I guess that makes sense.
So they can get up to level 11 and still gain perk points every time they do it, and so they can gain a total of 10 levels. And then they recently did an update, or about to do an update, I don't remember which, where they can still gain prestige levels after that, and they'll just get a few stat points when they do it. They won't get any more perk points, but it's a minor upgrade.
So it doesn't penalize players for being good at keeping their people alive.
Exactly. It's
without letting them get so powerful that
they found that good balance, because it's really, really hard to break this game. I felt really invincible the other day, and I was playing. I was punished. I was punished for feeling invincible. All right, so
no one could beat me. Dead.
Dead. So yeah, I mean, one thing you learn as the player, like, it kind of makes you feel like you're like a veteran soldier leading this troop, is like you learn what's good or not. A 58 starting melee skill is pretty damn good.
Do their stats increase based on the weapons they use? Or is it just kind of random?
No, it's random.
Okay. I'm sure there's some kind of rule to the random, right? Like, this guy is more likely to get points in melee, but it's not based on the weapons he's using.
When it generates the characters, it's completely random. People are not made equally. There are some that are fantastic. But these 3 guys tend to be really good. By really good, I mean slightly better, and maybe they will survive. That's the important thing about this game, thematically. Systems involved with the theme of it is you can have somebody who's really awesome, and you put a lot of love into them, and they can just die. And that's how the game plays. Like, it doesn't matter how invincible your character feels. Like, at the end of the day, they're only slightly better than the guy next to them. So he's a -5 resolve at negative morale checks, not the biggest deal in the world. Other than that, he's just a solid standard fighter. Let's look over here at this guy.
He's
higher
very
resolve,
close
higher
to
max
dead.
skill. He's also at 58. I'm happy he lived. I'm surprised.
Yeah, how do they recover?
Time.
Okay,
So
I mean, makes sense.
They'll recover hit points actually kind of a lot every day. We're lucky in that none of our guys got injured. When you take a big hit or you're low on life, you start to receive injuries, and sometimes those injuries are permanent. So sometimes
It's like a scar.
Yeah.
Or
I had a guy who was missing his nose, and it gave him enough negatives that I just had to let him go. I was just like, I'm sorry, you're useless to me now, and just let him go. There's another guy that, like, he had really low resolve and initiative because he was, like, permanently mentally scarred from almost dying. And I was just like, all right. And I gave him a big X, and I was like, you're on the front lines now, buddy. Because the game kind of teaches you to do that. It's like, you just need a meat shield sometimes. So anyway, so this guy also, nothing, like, he doesn't have any additional perks, so he's not particularly great, but his stats are pretty good. Also, the little stars next to them show you what they're likely going to be good at when they level up.
Oh,
so
okay.
He's going to get very good at melee, as this character with the 2 axes generally does. This guy is kind of mediocre, but he's going to get better hit points. 51 is not great starting hit points, but he'll get better. Cool. And then finally, we have Eek over here, our starting range guy, who has a range of 49. That's all right, but he has potential. And then he also has pretty good melee.
He has a set amount of arrows? Do you have to buy more arrows?
Yes, you do. It's easier than it sounds,
Okay.
though. They got rid of the nitty-gritty, always trying to, or not, but like the nitpickiness of always having to equip arrows and shit. Not really a big problem.
That's good.
And I'll show you in a moment. So, yeah, he has +5 fatigue recovery per turn. That's amazing. +5 melee defense. That's pretty damn amazing. This character is just really good. So this guy right here, here's what I do. This guy is amazing, and I want to keep him around no matter what. So I put an exclamation mark next to his name. And that to me says when I'm playing, because when you look at the field of guys, you might get lost in who you're looking at. And so when I look at them, I'm like, this guy's an exclamation mark next to his name. That means he has potential. That does not mean that he's going to live. That means he has potential, and I try to groom them the best I can before they die terribly.
He has leader preference armor.
Yeah. Not plot armor. The strategic armor, let's say. So otherwise, yeah. So the first thing we got to do is we have basically no anything, really. We have no... You can see up here, this is how much money we have. Every day I have to dish out 33 crowns to pay for my people. Otherwise, they'll start to abandon me.
Okay. Does the game teach you a lot of this stuff, or is it just kind of like figure it out as you go?
So once we... I think once we leave the city, some dialogue will start explaining a few things. Okay. Once we beat Hoggart the Weasel, there'll be a dialogue explaining a few things, but it's always done in a game term. He doesn't there's no dialogue that's like, make sure you equip the people because there's a 33% chance they'll leave you with something. Like, nothing is said like that. It's all in-game, and because of that, even though they hint toward and allude to a lot of things...
It's very easy to miss.
It is, and so you do pick things up. But if you hover over things, you'll see that 33 crowns per day, it will last me 72 more days, so money's not a problem right now. Provisions, I have 6, it costs 6 provisions per day, so I have 7 more days until I run out of food and then people start to abandon me there. Tools and supplies are used for repairing things, so there's an auto repair system. If your armor takes damage, if you have it equipped, it will auto repair itself as long as you have the tools and supplies necessary. Arrows are the same thing.
Yeah, so it's sort of micromanagey, but they add some mechanics to make it less micromanagey.
It's... All you have to do is just make sure you have enough tools and supplies, and it will do the rest for you.
That's really nice.
Unless you have a weapon, like, in your inventory that nobody's equipped to, and then you have to tell the game to repair it, or it won't.
But that makes sense,
That makes sense, because what if you're repairing something you don't want to and you're just going to sell it? Now you just wasted money. So anyway, let's hire some people. Because we have to. All right, so here's another Oscar. Great. And they each have their own backstory. So in tough times, everyone has to scrape by somehow. Hence why Oscar is a mere peddler. He'll try to sell off a rusty busket for a helm once worn by kings. This man will sell anything. He supposedly handed out coupons for service, whatever those are. He's chippy though, and any outfit these days could use a warm body no matter its real value. And then you can look at it, and he is a peddler. He has a high range defense and a lower melee skill because he's used to dodging arrows.
Fantastic.
He'll cost 120 to buy now, and every day he's going to cost me additional 7 gold. So he has a background as well. He's a beggar, low resolve, low hit points, lower max fatigue. He kind of sucks, and I don't want him unless I was going to put him on the front lines, which I might do. Then we have
it only costs 35.
Yeah, so it's really not like it's going to cost me too much. Then we have a fisherman. So here, let's go ahead and buy Oscar real quick, right? The peddler. So I'm going to hire him. Let's take a look at him. All right, so he has other bonuses, but I didn't see this when I hired him.
Do you think that's a good thing?
I do, actually. I like the random gamble when I hire somebody of not knowing, because if I could see everything about them, it would be a perfect pick every time.
Right. It basically would encourage the player to only make the most optimal choices always.
Yes, and that's not what the game is about. The game is really as many numbers as there are on the game. It's about go with the flow, because as I said, you can crunch every little number you want, and then sometimes you just make a bad decision and that dude's dead. Or you can have a character...
Which they set that precedence in the beginning of the game.
Yes. I've had characters that were terrible. They just had like all the terrible stats. I only put them on a front line because I wanted somebody to absorb attacks so my other guys could live. And then they ended up making it to level 4. I was like, well, I guess you're more... And then
you're
even
a
with
pretty
those
beefy
negatives,
meat shield.
Yeah. As it turns out that even with their negatives, a level 4 guy is still way better than a level 1 guy with great perks.
Okay.
And that's important. So he is a bleeder. He'll receive bleeding damage for 1 additional turn, which could mean he will die. So he might not be around for too long, and +1 vision just means he'd be a good scout, but scouting is kind of weird in this game. That would be something we could talk about. But yeah, higher range defense. That means that anytime, that's at basically 9%. They lose 9% every time they try to shoot him, is what it comes down to. So right, he doesn't have any equipment that he came with or anything like that, so we're obviously going to have to give him... There are 2 Oscars. You know what? We're renaming him.
What's your name, Oscar? No, it's not.
Your other Oscar. He is other Oscar, the confused. Done. So when we hover over him, it's just going to show other Oscar, but certain instances it will show his title. It's fun.
That's pretty fun.
So we have this beggar. He costs nothing.
Effectively. What's the it's daily.
Yeah, daily wages. So for really this is the cheapest guy I've ever seen. We're gonna hire him because I just want to. Fisher's a little expensive, but he comes with a net, which is a one-time item that just stops people in their tracks. It's amazing. That's a one-time item.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I assume you could buy more of those, though.
Yeah, you just have to be lucky enough to find them in the shop. So I don't know if he's gonna be any good, but we can come back to this guy later because we do have to go to the other town.
Oh, okay.
It's like the first mission is always the same. All right, so here's our beggar. Lower resolve hit points, lower max fatigue. Pretty terrible. Costs an additional 2 fatigue every time he walks space. Pretty terrible. No kills or fatalities, which means that there's no chance that they're going to come back to life if they're zombies. Otherwise, it's a useless trait.
Interesting.
But he's a zombie killer, basically.
There are zombies.
Yeah, there are zombies. There are zombies. There are orcs. There might be other things. I haven't seen them yet.
I guess that makes sense. They did make it pretty obvious in the beginning that there would be mythical creatures.
Yes. So, cool. We've hired some people. Let's go to our marketplace. And here, you're just going to find random stuff. Spoil in 6 days. Spoil in 6 days. Let's buy some grains. Grains are the cheapest foods thing. And it shows the cost. And it shows that it's going to give you 25 food resources, right? But the reason some things cost more is because they have a higher spoil day. So dried fish are more expensive, but they'll spoil in 8 days rather than 7 days. Grains are still just better to get overall early. So we're going to buy one of those. That should be fine. So here are the extra ammunition, right? If I just buy this, then my people will automatically stock their quivers. I don't have to do that for them.
Gotcha. Yeah, it just adds it to the lump total in the top.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
So my people don't have weapons right now, and I don't have any to give them. So this is some dialogue that comes up later. Randomly one of the characters is like, we should probably give our people spears because spears are more likely to hit. So you learn from playing the game that your first weapon should probably be spears because your characters...
Because you're low level guys.
They have such a low chance to hit. You want something better, but then later on, you realize that spears don't do enough damage. So you start equipping other weapons, but you can afford to do that because they're better.
Interesting that you can also buy like used weapons.
Yeah, a little bit cheaper, a little more damaged. Yeah, we'll do it. Let's see. This is a pitchfork. It is a 2-range weapon, so I can actually attack over people. We're gonna do it. Shields are awesome, so I'm gonna get one of those for my other guy. And let's see, one dude had some ragtags. So these only have an armor of 10, which makes them basically worthless. But there's this tunic here. We'll do the tunic. And no, we're good on that. Let's get them helmets. They don't have helmets. So the reason I'm doing this is because, just as I said, every little point can matter.
Yeah, it's too bad that you can't really look at your party while you're in the marketplace. You have to kind of memorize what your guys have and don't have, which...
That's fair.
It could be worse, honestly, and at least there's that button to quickly toggle over to your characters. Downside is there's no button to quickly toggle back to the marketplace if you do that.
Yeah,
you have to go back into town and then back into the marketplace.
Well, I mean, I'm at my people right now. I'm going to go straight back to the marketplace.
Okay.
So it's actually not that bad.
Yeah, no, that actually is pretty solid. Okay, so then my complaint is kind of nullified.
Boom.
And now you look ready to die, Thorismund.
Cool. So we have supplies. They are equipped with things, and there will be times you're just going to buy things. You're not going to know if they're good or not until you use them. In fact, you don't know, like for instance, you don't know that spears have a higher chance to hit unless you either A, have read that dialogue, or B, equip a spear and then take a look at thrust, which says it has a plus 20% chance to hit.
Oh, absolutely. Well, like, even, like, say this is your first time playing it, you're probably just going to kind of jump in and just go get into fights, and then, you know, hire people, buy random equipment for whatever you think is going to be best.
This is definitely one of those games that you play and you expect your first few runs to be abysmal, but you're going to learn everything in the process, and it's going to be fun.
I mean, that's kind of the natural flow of most roguelikes anyway, and this is very much more like a strategy roguelike, but it still follows the same design pattern, game flow, I think.
So I'm on the world map. I'm going to pause real quick. And the reason I do that is because there is a day-night cycle. So,
I guess that makes sense because,
you
know,
need to heal and food and payment and all that.
So now we have 3 objectives.
We got to get to Harkendock, northeast of Crumhorn.
Recruit at least 3 more men. Okay, so we're going to recruit them there?
Yes, we've actually already recruited 2. That was just an overall thing. It doesn't update. So we're traveling there. Now, the map is generally docile. However, things can pop out of nowhere. Not really nowhere, but things will pop out and try to attack you sometimes. Bandits.
Animals. Orcs.
No monsters. Not yet. I don't know if there ever will be. They made it very clear that it's not really that kind of game. That monsters or anything like that is ever a problem.
I guess that's fair.
As a silhouette of Harkendock appears in the horizon, Eek, sorry, I forgot the exclamation mark. Eek seeks a word with you. Never been to Harkendock myself, but I've been around. These big cities are expensive, but much more so than Crumhorn and other villagers like it. But the merchants have everything we need, weapons, armor, food. There's a smithy in Harkendock it's worth a visit to. Will be expensive for sure, but they sell real weapons made for war, not just farming tools, like a pitchfork. We could also browse the wares of the marketplace, of course. There's a few bargains to be made, but they'll also try to sell us stuff that'll break apart as much as you sneeze on it, hence damaged items ahead of time. Don't get swindled by them cutthroat merchants, Captain. Oscar sees fit to add his own opinion to what you should do. There's a good tavern. I say that we head there first. Pay around for the company and coffers and get us all drunk for raise our spirits. God knows we earned it. Eek shakes his head. You say that every time we stop in a town.
Fantastic.
So right there, this whole mission is about explaining the difference between like a little bumpkin town, as he puts it, or a city. And so, bam, we are at a city.
Nice.
There is a barber. The barber allows us to do things like this.
Is it free?
Yes.
That's kind of nice.
It's just, you know.
It's like renaming your characters, right? Like,
absolutely.
It's just so that you can make them something that helps you remember them.
The only downside to it is we can also see what they're equipped with, so most of the time you're not going to tell that I just changed his hairstyle.
That's pretty fair.
But, you know what? It's still nice. Like, I'm not going to complain about a feature that just... Of it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know why things like that are nice? You could argue that that feature is totally arbitrary for this game. And, I mean, you're pretty much right.
Yeah.
But it does one thing that's very specifically benefiting this game. And what it's doing is giving the players something that they're investing their time into those characters. Even as trivial as it is to just change their appearance, that player is now going to inherently be more fond of that character and want to keep them alive.
Absolutely.
So if they die, you're going to be that much more forlorn over it.
There's been times like somebody will die, and I was like, wait, who died? Who died? And I went to like my character screens I was looking through. I was like, oh my god, okay. Wrong guy.
Yeah, man. It takes me back to when Jen and I played, what was that game? It was the one where you play a badger, like a mama badger.
Frickin' Shelter.
Yes, Shelter.
Shelter, that they keep coming up with new shelters, by the way.
Which is awesome. I need to play the other ones. But Jen and I, during that playthrough, we named each of the babies because they all have like different patterns on their back, so we remember them based on the patterns. And I was like, Fatty better not die. If he dies, I'm going to quit this game. If Fatty lived, but we never finished the playthrough.
Oh, well, at least Fatty lived. Fatty will live. Ooh.
But we like got more fond over specific badgers, and then when one died, we were like, no! It was great. I love games that let you do things like that.
So we have a couple winners here. So we have Berengar.
Looks like a mechanic?
He's an apprentice, and he has plus 10 experience gain. I have never seen that.
That's awesome.
So done. Not even question. I don't care if he has one leg. He's hired. Next is background militia. Militia characters always tend to be more experienced but have good starting stats. Unfortunately, he is really expensive. That's almost half my money. That's actually that is half my money.
His daily cost could be worse, but I mean, 9 gold adds up over time.
So they recommend that you buy have a total 6 characters. I like to fill my thing with as many people as possible.
I mean,
and
they're gonna die.
Well, that's the hope, right? Is half of them will die, the other half will live, and those who live are winners. So good for them. So this guy's a grave robber. I've also never actually hired a grave robber, so we're gonna do that.
High resolve.
High resolve. Seems
kind of nice.
Vagabonds have higher max fatigue, and you look and you're like, yeah, I would totally hire a vagabond. A lot of the backstories for the characters are just awesome. They're just yeah, you know what? His whole family was killed in a fire, and then he joined a mercenary company, and then he left it, and then he became a fisher, and then decided that fishing wasn't the thing for him. So now here he is, trying to find a mercenary company.
Do you find yourself reading a lot of these?
Almost every single one.
I feel like that's something that a lot of players gloss over, because at a certain time it takes time away from the more exciting stuff like combat. But I always really appreciate it when, I don't know, devs put that kind of time into it. Even if it's you have one dude on the team that they only work part-time, but their whole job is just write backstories for characters. And that's awesome.
Basically, the writer for this game must have a blast. Because basically, it's written in chunks, is how it works. Mm-hmm. You'll see, it'll be this is the starting for how the story for a fisherman works. And then here's, a tragic event or an inciting incident. Mm-hmm. And then here's where they ended up and how they got into town in the first place. And it's always random. So it feels, even though you may see some of the same dialogue over and over again, it always feels different because it's always chunked in different ways.
That's a really good, surprisingly, I didn't expect to get this out of this game, but that's a very good example of where game writing is so much different than writing for books.
Good point.
Because not to say that you can't do both, right? But I often see a lot of people in the more traditional writing fields trying to get into game writing, and it doesn't translate. You have to understand how game writing works.
It's a completely different thing. It's
like
trying to write a script and write a play and then write a book. They're not the same. They won't function the same.
Well, right, because basically what happens is then you never have stage directions. And then people will be like, what are we supposed to be doing? What are the actions on stage supposed to be happening right now?
So, Berengar, I've called him the Wise. He has a higher experience gain, and he starts combat in confident morale, which is also a thing that I haven't seen yet. So there are a lot of perks, and some of them I just haven't seen.
Which is super important for a game that relies on random generation.
This guy's the opposite and starts combat in wavering mode. High resolve though, so I guess that kind of, in a weird way, makes up for it. So notice he's eventually going to be good at melee defense. Ooh. So that's what I'm going to start pushing him towards. So I still need to buy them stuff, and then we'll pretty much... Let's see, there was a tavern, the barber. He actually doesn't have a weaponsmith. You lied to me, dialogue. You can go to the shop. You can buy a round for your men, and it will increase their spirits. And it's another maybe thing. All right, so yeah, he's in higher spirits.
It's a gamble.
It's he has +5 resolve, which is just a small amount of resolve, so he's less likely to run away. But there's a 25% chance of starting confident, and if they start in confident mode, then they have better bonuses.
I like that a lot more than if they were like, what do you want to buy them? Do you want to buy them, this cheap beer? Do you want to buy them a nice whiskey?
Right.
Making it just kind of random.
It's just spending money on your guys in general, just to you see a mechanical benefit, and at the same time you feel nice for buying your guys some drinks.
Yeah.
You can buy a round for the tavern, and there's dialogue. Wow. Death is a part of life. The sooner you accept it, the more you can cherish it. You stay in the world. That helps me none, but I'll buy everybody a round and see what they say. It loosens their tongues a bit. The biggest fish of my catch I always place in front of Irma's door to woo her. Some days I'm going to reveal myself as her secret admirer and ask for her hand. That's also useless to me, so we'll do it one more time. It's adventure you seek. Here we go. There's a place called Forsaken Hut on the plains west of here. Don't know who lives there nowadays, though. Plains west of here.
I don't know, man. I say we go steal that fish off of that lady's doorstep.
See, that's kind of... I wish that there were certain dialogues that opened up locations in the town.
Ooh, that
I
would
haven't
be nice.
seen anything like it yet. All right, so cool.
Beta, so
none of the guys I got are going to be good at range. It's actually really rare to find anybody good at range, which makes a lot of sense, actually. That's why this guy in particular tends to be the best out of the starting.
Yeah, the mechanics of firing a bow are not complicated. The mechanics of firing a bow well are immensely difficult.
Different thing. Cool. I'm going to buy this thing, and I think the other guy already has something equipped, right? Oh, I guess these are... Okay, yeah, good. I mean, they're in good shape. As far as armor goes, let's buy them some helmets. Kind of expensive. Go for this. See, the other thing about it is like, oh, it's 24 out of 30, but it's going to repair before the next mission even starts, so do that. I don't have weapons for them yet.
You don't have to wait for it to, like, lose all armor before it repairs. That's nice.
So we're going to buy one spear, and let's have a, we have enough shields to, buy one shield. And the other guy, I think I'm going to get another pitchfork too. Alright, cool. So... Berengar the Wise has a pitchfork because I want to keep him alive. Chapow. Kapow. There we go. You. Equip the spear. Stupid cudgel. I mean, cudgels, like, they have a chance to do, like, a knockout attack that'll stun a person for a turn, but I'd rather hit at all.
I mean, that's pretty fair.
Alright. Oh, you already have a helmet. Oh, that's a pretty good helmet. Good for you. This guy's bald. So do that. I think all my people are... You don't have a helmet, actually. One of my starting guys doesn't have a helmet.
Oh, man, he almost looks uglier with the hat on.
I believe it. You also don't, but your range, you probably won't be getting hit. Or at least we're banking on that. And, I really like Berengar the Wise. So I'm going to give him slightly better armor, and I think we are officially good. Cool. So
cool.
We spent a lot of time looking at people. We spent a lot of time seeing what they can do and deciding what we're ultimately going to do with them.
But that's what the game expects, too.
That's precisely.
That's why I'm not... I don't think it would be worth trying to rush through this. And, you know, I guess as far as the Let's Play is concerned, may not be the most interesting thing. But...
Luckily, we're talking about game design. So
yeah, exactly. You can't really talk about this game's design without going through this level of detail because there's so much nuance to the numbers involved that we would have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Cool. So I think we are good as far as people goes. We've spent most of our money, but that's fine. Hopefully we'll be making up for it soon. Pause game real quick. Did he say west? Well, somewhere around here.
Oh, does it not show you where you need to go exactly?
I think I need to go back to Crumhorn. But remember that guy was talking about the person's hut or whatever? There's that when we bought them a round of drinks, he was talking about that wherever that location is at, if I come near it, it will actually reveal it on the map. And it will be a place we can go to. So actually buying people a round of drinks is important.
Okay,
Can be important. If you start to run out of things to do and start, like, you run out of jobs, then you can just go find your own trouble.
Solid.
So, yeah, we're just on the way back. Are we?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, cool.
So, question of the day. Oh, man, I had one earlier. What was it?
Do it.
I mean, we could talk about game writing. Because we actually have been reading a lot of the dialogue.
Speaking of which, yeah, let's go ahead and just do that real quick. Or ask the question, and we'll come back to the dialogue. How do you feel that the dialogue impacts the game, especially when it comes to theme and keeping it fresh?
That's a good question. That was way better than anything I was going to ask.
Always is.
Thank you for watching, everyone. We have at least one more episode, depending on what happens in the next episode.
Well, we're going after Hogarth the Weasel regardless of if we succeed or not.
That's fair.
Let's put it that way.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Adios.